and welcome to Men of the Den. My name's Eric, and it's Friday. So this week on The Den, we are doing random topics, and I'm going to tell you guys about 10 amazing podcasts that you absolutely should be listening to. Okay, first up we have 3 movie podcasts. The first one I want to talk to you about, I've been listening to non-stop for the last several days. It's called The Canon. Devin Faraci and Amy Nicholson, 2 very prominent film critics, spend about an hour each week talking about movies that belong in the all-time greatest list of films ever made. And it's an amazing conversation. They sometimes have guest speakers on to propose additional films for the canon, and I think it's amazing. You absolutely should be listening to The Canon. Next in the movie listings, I have the Fangoria Monster Party podcast. Fangoria, for those of you who know, is one of the big long-running horror magazines, and Monster Party got picked up by Fangoria Network, and they are amazing. So it's 4 or 5 guys who are horror movie industry folks, fanboys, complete and total fanboys, talking about horror movies for an hour. It's completely amazing. They had some amazing guest speakers on. They had the director of Zombieverse, which was one of my favorite movies of the last few months that I saw. So check out Monster Party. And finally, in the movies category, it's a lot of movies, but it covers a lot of other ground as well, is The Sewers of Paris with Matt Baum. You probably have seen Matt Baum across your Facebook feeds because he's been doing a lot of really great explainer videos lately, but his podcast, The Sewers of Paris, is amazing, and it's prominent gay men talking about the movies and pop cultural things that have influenced them. So you should totally check out The Sewers of Paris. Next up, we have some shows that are kind of explainer shows. The first one is The Gist by Slate. So this is a daily. It's really short. It's maybe 20, 30 minutes. Mike Pesca is a commentator at Slate, and every day they have it's almost like random topics every single day. But they really break it down. They go into deep dives into some really complex and really interesting topics, and it's funny too. So you should totally check out The Gist. And now another one that's an explainer series. This is a weekly, and it's called 99% Invisible. I saw this kind of through a TED Talk about flag design. So it takes quirky, unusual topics and really kind of gets into the meat of things with those topics. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's sad. It's very public radio, but it's really super short. Each episode is only 15-20 minutes long. So you should totally check out 99% Invisible. So the next section is all true life stories podcasts. So first off, the big granddaddy of all of them is This American Life. This American Life is an NPR produced radio show, but the podcast version is an uncensored version of the show that they actually produce for the radio. So you get to hear the full story. Sometimes they've added in extra content in the podcast. It's actually really quite amazing. And the really cool thing about the podcast is that they only do one announcement a year for fundraising. So you'll only hear that begging for money speech once, and blam, they're fully funded. It's amazing. It's completely amazing. This American Life, it's a wonderful show. It's a completely unique set of stories every single week. It's really super cool, This American Life. And also in the True Life Stories category, this one is the darker, edgier version of that show. It's called Risk, True Tales Boldly Told. And Kevin Allison, who's a former member of The State, comedy troupe The State, is a storyteller in his own right. And each episode has kind of a thematic element to it. And so they do about 3 to 4 stories that cover topics, a lot of interesting topics. There's a lot of really great gay stories that are in here. A lot of them are awkward coming of age tales and stuff like that. They are definitely not safe for work stories. Some of them are really quite explicit, and it's funny, it's tragic, it's amazing, it's mind-blowing, it's super, super cool. You should totally check out Risk. All right, my last big category of podcasts for you are ultra weird. The first of them is actually, it's not super weird. It's called Lore. Lore is a podcast by a guy named Aaron Mahnke. He's a novelist, and he does this really cool series where he explores the mythology behind like urban legends and monsters and other kinds of things like that. He's got a really great kind of radio style production to his show. It comes out every 2 weeks, and I love it. I think you'll love it too. The Call of Cthulhu podcast, Cthulhu and Friends, is batshit insane. The story starts out like really kind of like slow, low-key, like the first couple 3 episodes, and then like it just builds and builds and builds, and then like by the end of the first season it goes completely off the rails. The second season it's just like holy cow. It's fantastic. It's such an amazing and compelling story. And if you're into like, that kind of Lovecraftian horror, it is absolutely like 100% the kind of show that you would want to listen to. It does have, its gaming qualities to it. So they do roll dice and they do have conversations about, like what, statistic that they're rolling to determine how they proceed in different scenarios. And that leads to some really amazing consequences. It's really funny. It's really dark. It's really gross at times, and it's just such a cool story. So check out Cthulhu and Friends. And last, in the category of the ultra weird, the perennial favorite of podcasts today, Welcome to Night Vale. Welcome to Night Vale is a community radio show. It's a community radio show. It's couched in that pretext. And the radio host, Cecil Baldwin, lives in a very unusual town called Night Vale, and he basically reports the news, and the news is bizarre. And it's just really cool. You can get into it. You don't have to start at the very beginning. There are running storylines throughout Welcome to Night Vale, but I mean, each episode in itself can be its own little self-contained world. It helps to have background into what's going on in Night Vale, but it's not ultra critical. So you can kind of come in midstream and then maybe work your way back or forward. Actually, mixing it up and moving it around probably wouldn't make any difference because some of the things that happen are just so weird, and there's time shifting and other stuff that happens. So Welcome to Night Vale. It has a huge cult following. They have amazing merchandise. They have shorts that say creepy on the butt. And I think I'm going to buy the creepy butt shorts. Creepy booty shorts. So yeah, there you go. Welcome to Night Vale. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. I love to get a thumbs up. If you have any questions, comments, or if you have other favorite podcasts that you listen to, please leave those down in the crotch. I do try to check those on this Saturday. I don't always get to them because my video is posted on Friday. I'm at work and then I'm going out and hanging with friends, blah, blah, blah. But please do leave comments. I totally love hearing from you guys. Yes, you can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, all that stuff. And I'll see you again next Friday. Cheers!